Welcome to our Halloween chocolate bar virtual tasting. My name is Lauren. I will be your host for tonight. And we all got dressed up a little bit, so I got my little cat ears on. I don't know if you noticed, but you are able to turn on your video and your audio, so we're doing it a little bit different this time. If you have Halloween costumes, run and go try them on right now. That way, when Tammy Jo lets everyone share their screen, we can all see what everyone is dressing up for this Halloween. So that'll be really fun. We're going to kick off Halloween a little early this year. So I want to go ahead and talk about some ground rules that we're going to have for this tasting because it'll be a little bit different than normal. And then we will get started. So, as I said, this meeting is going to be a little bit different where you can all see and hear each other. If you want to unmute, I highly encourage you to unmute if you have any questions or comments during the tasting. It's usually very interactive. So this is going to be the closest thing to an in-person tasting that we can provide you guys tonight. So usually it's a lot of back and forth with our chocolatier. There's talking, there's comments, there's feedback, and you can all do that tonight. So we're so excited to be able to see you. So if you have any questions though, go ahead and put that in the chat box so we can answer them if you don't want to unmute yourself. But we do ask that you stay muted throughout the tasting just so it's a quiet experience for everyone. So I will go over a little bit of our history of Ethel M before we get into trying the chocolate, and then I will hand it over to Tammy Jo. So if you have not done this tasting before, if you've never heard of Ethel M, we are actually founded by Forrest Mars Sr., who's in that top left photo. Him and his father Frank started the Mars Chocolate Company that you may have heard of: Twix, Snickers, M&M's, Skittles. Raise your hand if you've heard of those. The best candies ever. Those are all made by Mars. He retired in 1976 and moved to Henderson, Nevada for a little bit of a warmer climate just to relax. But then he started missing making chocolate. So he started making chocolate again, but this time using his mother Ethel's recipes. And he learned these recipes in 1911 when they would make chocolate in their kitchen back in Tacoma, Washington. So he took those recipes that he learned with his mother and brought them to Henderson and started making them again. 5 years later, after he retired in 1981, he opened the factory. So that's where you'll see that top photo is a picture of our factory, our garden, and then in the background, you'll see the Las Vegas Strip. So we are right outside Las Vegas in Henderson. So just about 10 minutes away from the Strip, you'll find our factory. And if you are ever visiting us, we highly encourage you to come out to see us. You'll see in the two photos on the right are pictures of different cactus we have. We actually have over 300 species. So it's really fun to walk through the garden, see all the different types of cactus we have. It's over almost 3.5 acres of land that we have, and over 300 species, as I mentioned. So really pretty to walk through. That bottom photo is of our cactus garden during the holidays. So for us, it starts pretty soon. It starts November 6th. When we kick off our holiday season, we turn on all of the lights in our garden. It's over 1.5 million lights now. We grow every year. And you'll see that bottom photo is the lights all over the cactus. So November 6th, we kick it off and turn on all the lights at the same time. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that at the end of this tasting. But we do have a special tasting that night to kind of kick it off and celebrate. This will be our 27th year doing this, so pretty special for us. The last thing I want to talk about is that bottom left photo, and that is of our solar panel garden. And that is 4.4 acres of solar panels right behind our cactus garden. So that means that our factory can be completely powered by solar power energy during our peak production hours. So the busiest times of our day, all of our chocolate is made using solar power energy, which is amazing. I love that about our company and how sustainably focused we are. So I won't take up any more of your time. I'll go ahead and introduce Tammy Jo. She's your chocolatier for tonight. So she had been with us for just about 20 years now. She started on the factory side, learning about all the machines, how the pieces are made. Now she's on the retail side, so she trains new associates. She's always learning about new things about chocolate, and she hosts these tastings as well. So I will go ahead and hand it over to Tammy Jo.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tammy Jo, and as Lauren said, I have 20 years of experience in eating chocolate. I absolutely love it. And today I'm going to share with you some really cool tricks and treats that we found along the way. So let's dive on in. But first, I would like to announce what I am. I am my version of Merida from Brave. And I can't wait to see all of your costumes. So very excited for that. We're gonna pause in the middle to like showcase you guys if you wanna turn on your cameras and show us your costumes. But let's dive on into the oh, okay.
Oh, you're good. Sorry about that.
All right, can everybody hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right, cool. I think we were muted for a second or two. So let me start over from the beginning. Oh, okay. I'm dressed up as Merida today, my version of Merida from Brave. So let's go into the 4 ways we're going to really be thoughtful, indulgent eating our chocolate. So step number 1 is touch and feel. So we're going to take a look at how it looks, what the packaging looks like. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the chocolate and how it's shaped and how we think it got that shape. And of course, number 2 is my favorite rule of all. Number 2 is smell. So 80% of your taste actually comes from your smell. So by smelling your chocolate, you're really kind of heightening your taste buds and getting them prepared for all of those delicious flavors, okay? And then step number 3 is going to be taste. But on this one, we want to slow it down. I want you to eat chocolate slower than you've ever eaten chocolate before. So you're going to take a small bite. You're going to chew a couple times, push it up to the roof of your mouth with your tongue, and just kind of hold it there. And then just wait for it to slowly melt on its own. And what we're doing in this moment is we're thinking about the texture. We're thinking about the flavor. How is it melting on your palate? Is it melting really fast? Is it melting really slow? And really kind of think about all of those factors. And then of course, finish. Number 4 is finish. And as you're finishing your chocolate, I'll tell you some fun facts about how the chocolate is created and about how the trees are created from bean to box. We're going to go all the way through to how it grows, to how it's harvested, and all those really cool, fun details, okay? So let's go ahead and start it off with our first bar of chocolate. We're going to be trying our white chocolate candy bar. So go ahead and get the one that looks like this. And it kind of has that really creamy, like buttery look on the side. Yes. Ooh, are you guys excited? Yeah, I'm excited. I'm kind of wondering which one you guys are most excited to try before we get started. Let's see if that ends up being your favorite. Go ahead and let us know in the chat box below. Or if you want to, you could unmute and let us know which one you're most excited to try before we try the first one. Milk chocolate. All right, cool, cool. We're excited to try the milk chocolate. My favorite is probably going to be peanut butter, but it's a tough one between the caramel. I don't know. I like that one too. Someone else is excited about the caramel. Awesome, awesome, very cool. All right, well, let's not wait any further. Let's go ahead and open up the really pretty packaging. What I like about this one is it kind of has these really cool solid pieces of the chocolate, so you can see the chocolate on there, and it kind of matches the color of the bar. So let's go ahead and open it up and take a look. So with the bars, they kind of come in this like shape where you can kind of snap them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to snap just one square and I'm going to save the rest for later. And you're welcome to do that too, or you can eat the whole thing. It's up to you. All right, so let's take a look at it. It has that kind of same coloring as the packaging. It has that little like yellowish kind of warm vanilla looking color that we all know and love with white chocolate. Let's go ahead and smell it. Now really think about the flavors when you're smelling this. What do you guys smell? Go ahead and take a look at your placemats and kind of decipher what category you guys would put it in, okay? So for me, I think it smells like, it kind of smells like cooked milk, like someone's making fudge or like they're going to heat up milk for making hot chocolate. That's what it smells like to me, like cooked milk. All right, let's go ahead and take a bite and let it melt. Mmm. Really think about how it's melting in your mouth. Is it melting fast? Is it kind of melting slowly? And really try to be mindful about that because different types of chocolate and textures are going to melt differently. So that's a really cool fun fact. So really think about, how is it melting on your palate right now? What are you noticing about it? For me, I think it definitely goes into sweet aromatics. It's going to have a little hint of vanilla. It kind of reminds me of caramel because it's kind of sweet and buttery like caramel because there's so much cacao butter in it. One of the main questions I get about white chocolate, and I'm going to tell you some cool fun facts as you guys are finishing yours. One thing I get the most asked question when it comes to white chocolate is it a chocolate? So yes, it is. It is considered a chocolate. And the reason why is because cocoa beans are 50% cocoa butter and 50% cocoa solid. And it's the cocoa butter that they use to make white chocolate. But you have to have a certain percentage in your white chocolate to be considered a white chocolate. Otherwise, it's just a white confection. So 20% of cocoa butter and about 14% milk solid and 3.5% milk fat. And that is like the base of white chocolate. So it has to have 20% cacao butter to be considered a white chocolate. Otherwise, it's just a white confection. All righty. So another cool thing about white chocolate is it melts differently. It melts a little bit slower than the other pieces. And to give you guys some more time to really indulge that white chocolate and enjoy it, we're going to talk to you guys about how beans are grown. So we're going to start at the very beginning on where they grow. All right. So cacao beans can only grow in the dark shaded areas of the map. So 20 degrees below and above the equator. Okay. So that is the belt of the earth all the way around. So look at the map and I want you guys to tell me where you think what state is the only state that can grow cacao trees. Does anybody have a guess? You could either unmute or you could let us know in the chat box below. Does anybody know what state? Hawaii, yes, good job. Hawaii is the only state that has the right environment to grow cacao trees. It's very hot, it's very humid, very tropical, and that's exactly what cacao trees need. About 80 degrees, it doesn't get lower than that. There's no season, which is pretty cool. So they don't have to worry about it getting too cold or too hot during summer. So it's pretty much perfect weather year round. So let's dive deeper into some more fun facts about the tree and how it actually grows. This right here is a cocoa pod and it's dehydrated. The one I have is dehydrated to preserve it, but if you listen closely, the beans are still inside. So this is kind of more like a shrunken head version of what it looks like, okay? So if we look at the picture of the tree, the really cool thing about the pod is that the pods are considered the fruit of the tree. Let's think of that for a moment. Let's think about it. If the pod is considered the fruit of the tree and the bean is what we use to make the chocolate, does that mean chocolate is a fruit? What do you guys say? I say yes. Do you guys agree? All right, cool. Yes, chocolate is a fruit. Why not? Parents, I'm sorry. All right, so let's look at the tree again and look at how it grows on the tree. So cacao trees, when they bloom all over the tree, from the very base of the tree all the way up into the branches. It can grow anywhere on the tree. And after pollination, it takes 5 to 8 months to grow a full-size pod. One of the ways that they can tell that it's ripe is by thumping it. It'll have like a hollow sound. They scrape it with their nails or with a knife, they can scrape it. And if the coloring is yellow, then that means it's ripe and ready to go. So once they're ready to be harvested, they use machete technology, which basically means they use, it's a fancy way of saying they use a sharp knife. And the reason for that is because of how thick the pod is. This right here is where the stem is. So that's how thick it is. They can't twist that and pull it off a tree by hand. It's too thick. They have to use a machete to cut it off in order to get it off the tree. And they have to do it in a way where they're not going to damage the tree in that area, so that way it can still bloom. So after they harvest all the pods they can, they're then going to crack them open and get the beans out. So if you really take a look at that picture of what those beans look like, they don't look like chocolate at all, right? They look kind of slimy and they look kind of like covered in this really gooey like pulp, and it's very thick and kind of like chewy. And the reason why I know it's chewy is because I actually got to try one once. So I got to try a bean with the pulp still on it. And to give you an idea of how it feels, it's kind of like carving a pumpkin, except for there's no hollow space. When they crack it open, it's kind of like this big mass of beans, and there's really not that much hollow space compared to a pumpkin. But it has that same texture. It's a little bit thicker though. And when you were to eat it, the pulp is very chewy and the bean just kind of crunches like a nut, and it tastes like mango and pineapple like mixed together. It's very sweet and tropical, but it kind of has some acidicness to it. It's very interesting. Has anybody in the audience ever gotten to try a cacao bean? No? Okay. Well, if you ever get the opportunity, definitely do it. It looks disgusting, but it's very delicious. So definitely try it, okay? So once they gather all the beans and they have all the pulp, they're going to then put it in a box and ferment it. And that basically is going to sit out in the sun for 5 days and bake. What that does is it basically changes the acidicness of the bean and prepares it for making chocolate. From there, the last stage with the farmers is the sun drying table, where it's going to be on a thinner layer and it's going to be aerated. So they usually use like a bamboo table, and that is so that the air can kind of like go through and just aerate the whole table and just dry it all out. They want to get as much moisture out of the bean as they can, and they kind of get like a nice golden suntan while they're out there. All right, so let's go ahead and pause on the fun facts and let's get into some more chocolate, yeah? Make sure that you guys have a bottle of water with you, just so you can cleanse your palate between each new piece of chocolate. If you don't already have that, go ahead and grab it. And then let's cleanse our palates. All right, and really use your placemat, because sometimes the first bar is so good you think it's your favorite, and then as you go, it's like all of a sudden the next one's your favorite, and then it just gets better and better, and sometimes you forget what you thought about each one. So definitely write down your notes on like the touch, the feel, the aroma, like how did it smell to you guys, and then of course on the bottom of your placemat there's the overall thought and what you thought of each piece. So let's go ahead and get into our next chocolate. We're going to be trying the milk chocolate candy bar. Very similar to the white chocolate one. It has that kind of milk chocolate color on the edge. Yes, delicious, very exciting. Are you guys excited about this one? It's going to be so good. All right. What I like about this one is the little curly cues on the wrapper. I think that's so cute. It kind of looks like a chocolate straw. I love little shavings of chocolate. It's so good. All right, let's go ahead and rip it open. Let me try the other side. There we go. Got it open. I got it open. All right, cool. So again, I'm going to just crack open a small piece for me. I'm going to save the rest of it for later. So this is what it looks like. It has that really cool little Ethel M logo on it. Have you guys figured out how they get that design on there yet? If not, don't worry. I'm going to give you all that information a little bit later on. Let's go ahead and smell our chocolate. I just got a little sticky, and to make sure that I don't get dirt on my nose, I'm going to go get a napkin real quick. Give me 1 second. All right, so before you take a bite, hopefully you didn't take a bite yet. What we're going to do with this one is we're going to plug our nose. I know it sounds weird. I know it sounds bizarre, but trust me, it's really cool. So the reason why I'm going to have you plug your nose and hold it shut while you're eating is because you're going to take 80% of your taste away by doing this. You will not be able to taste it as much with your nose plugged. So let's go ahead and walk through it. We're going to smell. I smell vanilla, cocoa. It definitely smells different compared to the white chocolate we tried. So let's go ahead and plug our nose and hold it shut. Take a bite. And release. That's different. Notice how much flavor came back when your nose was not plugged. It's so bizarre how that happens. And that's because you're not using the 80% of your taste that is coming from your nose. So for me, I'm definitely tasting the cooked milk, but a lot more roasted. A lot of roasted flavor is coming from this one because of that cacao solid. So for milk chocolate, it's cocoa solids, cocoa butter, and some milk and milk fats. And that's the base of milk chocolate. To be considered a milk chocolate, you have to have at least 10% liqueur in your chocolate, which is pretty cool. Our milk chocolate is 34% cacao. Keep that in mind, 34% cacao. I'll tell you why that's a fun fact in a bit. So what else are we noticing? Did anybody else taste caramel? I kind of tasted caramel. What about you guys? Did you guys taste caramel? Very cool, very cool. All right, while you guys are enjoying your candy bar, I'm going to tell you some more fun facts about chocolate. Let's dive into the processing from bean to bar. How does it become a chocolate? Let's dive on in. Okay, so here we have a picture of the sorting. So to sort the beans, what they're doing is they're looking for a certain type of bean. And I have here some beans. So let me get those out so you can really see what those look like. Look at that. This is what the beans look like. Okay, they're kind of the size of an almond. And this is a shell. Where'd it go? I dropped it. There it is. This is kind of like the skin of the bean. So it kind of has like this little skin, right? It's very thin, kind of like when you're cracking open a peanut and it has like that skin on the peanut. It's kind of like that. So I'm going to crack one open so you can really see what it looks like on the inside. Here's a good one. So this is what the bean looks like right there. Okay. You can see the skin and you can just peel it right off. So this is what the bean actually looks like. And you can see that oiliness to it. The reason why it has that oiliness, that buttery look to it, is because the bean is 50% cocoa butter, 50% cocoa solid. So let's crack it open. And this is what it looks like on the very inside of the bean. This is the color they want it to be. They want it to be, whoops, there we go. They want it to be that dark brown color. The reason why they want the dark brown color is because that means it is perfectly fermented bean. They don't want the one that has that kind of pink color on the inside because it's not perfectly fermented. So once we source through all of our beans, we bag them up and then we ship them to Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, where they're then going to get roasted. It's very similar to coffee. It gets roasted differently depending on the type of chocolate it's going to be. After it's roasted, it's then chopped into what we call a nib. And you can actually buy nibs at the grocery store. This is what the nibs look like. They're kind of like finely chopped beans, okay? And you can use these for putting in your smoothies. You can put it in your oatmeal. I like to put it on my ice cream. It's really, really good. So when you take the beans and you continue to grind them and grind them and grind them, because there's so much cocoa butter in there, you don't have to add anything to it for it to become a liquid. So the picture of the grinding and mixing process is 100% bean. And it just kind of looks like a regular dark chocolate. I actually got to try this once, and I probably would only try it once. It was very interesting. If anyone has ever got the opportunity to try this as well, please share your story in the chat box, or you could always unmute too if you wanted. But basically for me, if you look at your placemat real quick under earthy, okay, look at all those different words. It described, there's woodsy, there's straw or hay, there's tobacco, there's leather, and it tasted like all of those flavors combined. That is how strong it was. It was so intense. I tasted leather, I tasted tobacco. It basically tasted like I was eating earth, which is a nice way of saying it tasted like dirt. It was very interesting, but definitely if you ever get the opportunity to try 100% liqueur chocolate, which is basically the liquid bean, definitely try it because it is so cool. And I tried literally like one drop of it. It was so strong, but you could tell though that it was still going to be chocolate if you added a lot of cream and sugar and butter to it. All right, so now let's talk about molding and enrobing. Okay, so the bars that we're trying today are molded. Let's go ahead and pause for a minute. If anybody's dressed up and they'd like to show us their costumes, please unmask your costume. Let me see. What do we guys got going on? If you don't have your costume on now, that's okay. Just let us know in the chat box, or you can unmute and let us know what you're planning on dressing up as. Thank you very much. Very cool. And if you guys have any questions that I haven't answered during the presentation, please feel free to type them in the chat box, or you can unmute and ask me any questions, okay?
And it looks like Andrea is all dressed up. Their costumes are so cute, and I love how you colored in the cactus that we sent over. That's beautiful.
That's so cool.
If anyone else colored in that coloring sheet, we'd love to see it. Or if you want to email us a picture, we can always post it on our social media, anything like that. That's awesome. Beautiful. Caitlin's group has some really pretty colors.
Ooh, how nice.
Cool. Love it.
Very cool, guys.
Oh, that's awesome. Mary, sorry.
Cool.
Beautiful. I have to say, I didn't see everyone else's costumes, but I think Andrea's group probably won. I love the animals on the robe.
Very cool.
All right, let's hop back into the
Thank you guys so much for sharing. That was really cool. All right, well, let's dive back into the fun facts. So our next bar, let's dive into that one if y'all are ready for it. Here we go. This is our creamy caramel candy bar. I love how it has that caramely color and the cute little squares of caramel. So you kind of know, and if you look at the bar when it's broken up, it kind of gives you a clue on the texture. Get some napkins because this one's going to be messy. And sometimes messy means it's going to taste better. I don't know. What do you guys think? I always think that when it's messier, it tastes better. And I'm a messy eater. Like I get chocolate all over my face all the time. So let me make sure I have a napkin ready. Okay, I have a napkin ready because I'm going to make a mess. All right, let's go ahead and crack this one open. Let's see if I can break it without making a mess. I did it. I usually don't. I usually make a huge mess when I do that. All right, let's see if we can smell the caramel. We know caramel's inside, but can we smell a difference between the solid milk and the milk chocolate caramel? It does smell like a little sweeter, but I can't quite figure out why. What about you guys? Do you guys smell the caramel? Some of you do. Awesome. Oh, I think I smell it now. All right, enough smelling. I'm ready for it. Let's dive in. I'm going to do the nose trick again. So let's plug our noses and take a bite. Mm. Mm. Ooh. Mm. Very different on that one. So this one has like what is that? I would say butterscotch. It's not butterscotch, it's caramel, but it definitely tastes like butterscotch. So it definitely goes in the sweet aromatics. It definitely goes into the roasted flavor because of the milk chocolate, and definitely the cooked milk, the cooked flavor there. But mostly I would say honey, butterscotch, and caramel. And I love how it melted. Like the texture was completely different on this one, right? It has like a gooey, kind of runny filling. So that kind of melted quickly and spread out. Whereas the chocolate kind of lingered and kind of slowly melted. So that's kind of fun when you think about how the two different textures together, one kind of melts and spreads around, whereas the other one just kind of like stays there and just kind of like moves around, kind of dances on your tongue. Very delicious. I really like that one. That one's really good. That's gonna be a tough one to beat. I don't know. That one's pretty good. So as you guys are finishing your bars, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk to you about how we get the filling inside the bar. So let's talk about that. So this one, all of our bars are made with a mold, and that's how they get that cool Ethel M logo on there. It's designed into the mold. So it's kind of like this carving inside this mold. And we have a machine called the one-shot depositor. So it basically does the filling and the chocolate shell all in one shot. And how that works is there's two triangles, okay? And they kind of have this bridge where they hold these little nozzles. And if they're making a solid milk chocolate or a solid white chocolate like we had earlier, then they're just going to use one side. It's just going to pour the chocolate in. It's going to go through the nozzle and fill the entire mold with just the chocolate. But if we're having the milk chocolate creamy caramel bar, then it's going to use both sides. So there's two different tanks. One tank will have the chocolate shell, milk, dark, white, and then the other side is going to have the filling. Okay, so this one has the creamy caramel. So it has that runny, gooey caramel. Let's pause and talk about how the caramel is created, and then we're going to talk about how that molding process gets it inside, okay? So with caramel, they have to melt it down in a copper kettle gas heater. They melt down all the ingredients, and then they put it in a steam kettle, and they use steam to heat it up to about 240-ish degrees. And that's going to create all the sugar to caramelize, and that's creating the caramel. After they create the caramel, they're then going to pour it into the one-shot depositor, where it does the filling and shell in one shot. So basically, there's a nozzle that's connected to the filling tank. There's a nozzle connected to the chocolate shell, and they intertwine. So when they go, the mold comes underneath with a little cavity, and the two nozzles will go down and fill the mold all at the same time. And what happens is the filling is actually pushing the chocolate up and to the sides of the mold because it's not giving it any room to fall inside. And because the chocolate is perfectly tempered, and so is the filling, they're not going to melt all together. A lot of people think, when you think about it pouring in at the same time, you would imagine it like kind of melts all together in one big clump, but it doesn't, because the chocolate is perfectly tempered to where it kind of creates this thickness, and it goes up the sides of the mold, it fills it up with caramel, and then it tops it off with the chocolate. From there, it's going to go into a cooling tunnel. And the molding process holds about 500 molds. Once it goes into the cooling tunnel, it's about the same temperature as a refrigerator, and it'll cool between 20 to even an hour. It depends on the type of filling and how it needs to be cooled. So it can go anywhere from like 20 to like 45 minutes of cooling process. And then from there, they're going to then get hand packed, and then they get them. There's this really cool foil machine, and that's how we foil all of our candy bars. They place the bar in, and then it goes through this machine that's like super fast, and it just like wraps all the candy bars for us, which is pretty cool. If anybody has any questions, feel free to let me know. Go ahead and ask if I haven't answered any questions yet. So if you guys want to ask any questions, feel free, okay? So what did we think about that one? Did you guys like that one? I'd like to know before we get to the last one what everyone's favorite bar is so far. So feel free to unmute if you'd like to, or type in the chat box and let us know what your favorite candy bar is. Milk or white? Okay. My face is caramely. I know that one's really messy, right? It's so sticky, but that's kind of why I love it. It's like in your face. You guys like white chocolate, caramel again, white chocolate again. Very cool. All right, let's see if the last one's going to change your mind. My personal favorite, I would probably have to say, is going to be the last one. Although caramel is really, really hard to beat, but I really love the peanut butter. It is so special, and you're going to see in just a minute. Let me just cleanse my palate. Make sure you cleanse your palate for this one. It's your fresh teaspoons. All right, let's take a look at the peanut butter. So this one's really cool because it has that kind of like little dollop, little swirly peanut butter on it. It looks so good. It just makes you want to eat like a spoonful of peanut butter. And sometimes I use chocolate to eat it as my spoon. I do that. But with this one, we don't have to because it's already got peanut butter in it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I love the cute little peanuts in it. All right, enough looking. Let's dive on in. All righty. It's a little melted and gooey, so. All right. You can smell the peanut butter. Oh my gosh. This one really smells different, right, guys? You can really smell like the roasted peanuts. It smells so good. I just kind of want to sit here and smell it for a while. All right, let's go ahead and take a bite. I'm going to do the nose trick again because peanut butter is my favorite one to do it on because of the roasted peanuts. Oh my gosh, so good. Okay, here we go. Whoa, that's so crazy. Like you can't taste the peanut butter until you unplug your nose. It's so weird. I think that is so amazing. And it's so interesting how that much of your nose has to play with your taste buds. So this one is, it goes into a lot of different categories, actually. It goes into earthy with a little bit of kind of like, I'd say maybe straw or hay. Definitely goes into roasted and peanut, strong peanut butter. And it's really creamy. It's really creamy peanut butter, right? So good. I love that one. Yep, that's the one. That is my favorite out of all the bars that we tried today. I'm gonna say peanut butter is still my favorite. Absolutely love it. So let's talk about the peanut butter. Let's talk about how they create it. So the peanut butter, we do not order it already made. We make it in-house. So all the peanut butters that we have, we make from scratch. So we get our peanuts from Georgia, from Albany, Georgia, and they roast it there and they vacuum seal it so it can't age. And we get it about 2 weeks later. And then when they open it up, and they're making the peanut butter and they're grinding it, you can smell it. It's so good. Oh, I love it. So they actually grind it in-house. So they grind it fresh on site every single time they make a peanut butter. We also have a peanut butter shaped like a peanut, and we also have one with a little bit of a twist. If you guys love the peanut butter, you should try our peanut butter and jelly. Yes, peanut butter and jelly. It's like a sandwich without the bread. I know, it's amazing. It's so good, and it's layered. I haven't figured out how they do that. It's bizarre. I'm like, how do you layer it? Like, I don't even know. But it's layered. It's peanut butter and then a layer of chocolate and then a layer of strawberry jam. It's so good. So if you're a peanut butter fan, definitely try that one if you haven't. It's really, really good. But yeah, peanut butter is so strong. I absolutely love it. All right. So does anybody have any questions out there for me about chocolate at all?
Mm. Mm. Mm.
All right, I do want to point out if anyone is pairing their chocolate with beers, Candace has put in a lot of good suggestions about how she's pairing them. And usually when we have different filled pieces and Mark is also hosting it, he'll go into like different pairings and stuff like that. He actually is the one that determined all of these beer and wine pairings that we show in other tastings. So that is good to know. And she mentioned that the dark chocolates are really good with the porters and dark beers. And we have a question, why is dark chocolate bitter?
That is a very good question. So dark chocolate is bitter because of the fact that it has more cacao solids. We didn't really talk about that today because of the fact that we didn't have any dark chocolate. So dark chocolate is going to have a higher percentage of cocoa solid. The higher the percentage of the cocoa solid, the more roasted flavor you're going to get, the darker it's going to be, and the more bitter it's going to be. Because again, the cacao bean, the solid liqueur, is extremely bitter. It's like eating a coffee bean but it also tastes, it's very dark. It's very, very, very bitter. So one cool thing about dark chocolate is to be considered a dark chocolate, it has to have at least 35% cacao liqueur. So remember earlier I said milk chocolate, our milk chocolate is 34% cacao. Milk chocolate or dark chocolate actually starts at 35% cacao to be considered a dark chocolate. And our milk chocolate is 34%. So it's almost considered a dark. And our dark chocolate is 54%. It's more of a bittersweet. So it's not too dark. It still has a little bit of sweetness to it. So if you're not sure if you're a dark chocolate fan, definitely try our dark chocolate because it's not as bitter as some of the ones out there. It's very smooth too. That's very important because we actually we grind it and then we mix it again in a regrinder so that it has a very nice, creamy, fine texture. So
cool.
I hope that answers your question. Any other questions?
Yes. So the machine you were talking about that puts the filling in the bar is the same machine used for the caramel that is used for the peanut butter?
Yes. So for the peanut butter one, it's the same machine. It's called the one-shot depositor. And that's going to do all of the pieces that have any kind of a runny, gooey texture. So basically, the reason why we have to use a one-shot depositor is because the filling is a little too runny to hold shape. So anything we are able to like say you had a chewy caramel, you're able to cut that and it's like a little thick, chewy piece of caramel. That can hold shape and go through a hot curtain of chocolate to get covered. But if it's like a runny, gooey texture, you can't really shape that and then have it go through a curtain of chocolate. So you have to go through the one-shot depositor. And there's a lot of different pieces that we have using that technology.
But as a note, for any allergy concerns, it is thoroughly cleaned, and we
Yes.
have
Separate
good-
molds.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
just in case that was what you're wondering as well,
Yeah.
for any allergies, it is completely cleaned out and everything before each piece, each different type of filling is made. All right, if there's any other questions, I'll let you guys type them in if there is, but I do want to talk to you about a few things. Our next tasting is going to be November 6th, and I mentioned that's when our holiday lighting is. So I want to show you all what this tasting will be. It's going to be more of about an hour and a half to 2 hour event. So we're going to stream it live. We're going to have Mark, who is our senior R&D scientist. He actually helps to innovate and create some different pieces that we've created. And he's going to be doing a hot chocolate tutorial using our hot chocolate tin. And then we are going to turn on the lights all together for the first time. We're going to stream it virtually so everyone can watch it. And then he will go over 2 of our different samplers. So this is our holiday sampler. It has pumpkin piece, an eggnog piece, a mint piece, creme de menthe. So it does have pieces that have liqueur in it. So if you do not want any liqueur, where Tammy Jo is going to be doing the classic sampler.
Yeah.
So these are some of 5 classic recipes that originally were created by Ethel Mars, and we still use these same recipes today. So this is our classic sampler, non-alcoholic. For those who don't want alcohol or for kids, this is our holiday classic. So these are limited edition, really amazing. There's some fun recipes you can do with this as well. So it's very, very cool. And Mark and Tammy Jo are going to be doing that together for our holidays. It's $55 and it's sold on ethelm.com. And if you'd like a discount code, since you stay till the end, the code is virtual. And that can be applied on our entire website or especially on this holiday tasting.
Ooh.
And also, I want to talk about the Halloween coming up. So if you are planning on celebrating or if you're not sure how you want to this year, there's an app called Treat Town that is sponsored by Mars, which I mentioned has like Three Musketeers, Skittles, M&Ms, Twix. They created this app for Halloween called Treat Town. If you're under 18, you can actually redeem credits for candy and redeem them in store. But you basically download it and you can see everyone else in your neighborhood who also has it. I already downloaded mine. I decorated my door. You can kind of pick how you decorate it and do a greeting if you'd like. It's really fun. And you can see everyone else in your neighborhood that has it. And then you can trick the people or you can get a treat from them and redeem it at a store for actual candy. So it's no contact and it's really fun to just see who else in your neighborhood has it and kind of do a contact this Halloween. So if there's no more questions, I know Camila has a hand raised. Does anyone else want to try on their costumes and show us before we head out? Ooh, looks like we have maybe a hot dog or something. I'm not sure. All right. If anyone wants to unmute and say hi, feel free. I hope you guys all had fun and I hope you have a great Halloween.
You tell her.
Wait, I have a question.
You're a taco.
Yes.
Taco man. I want to.
So we have a whole Pixar crew.
You're a cat lady. I see it now.
Let's see.
Wait,
Oh, that's awesome.
Pixar. I love those Disney movies.
Let's spotlight a few people that are dressed up.
Merida
Is that
is from
okay?
the other.
I can't tell
Woo! Yes, very cool. Superman. Oh, I see it now. Awesome.
That's awesome. Ooh, let's see. Does the Pixar crew want to show?
Yeah, we got on the big screen.
Yay, Pixar.
That's awesome.
Praise Pixar.
Love it. Any other costumes want to
Your
pop
new
on?
hair.
Cindy, you look like you're dressed up. Can I spotlight you? Love.
Ooh, I love your
Beautiful.
cat shirt. I have a black cat. Very cute.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all so much. I hope you had fun tonight and I hope you all have a safe Halloween. And with that, also a good rest of your weekend.
Yes.
Bye.
I have a question.
Yes.
Wait, what's it called again? Like the app?
You say it one more time, sweetie?
What's it called? Like the app, I think.
You may have to speak up just a little bit. Oh, Treat Town. The app is called
Okay.
Treat Town.
Thank
So
you.
TREAT, Treat, and then Town. And you can see everyone in your neighborhood that has it. You can decorate your door, add little fun things to it. I did mine and I spent probably 10 minutes deciding which vibe I wanted to go with. I did a greeting, so it's really fun. And then you can, again, redeem actual candy in store from people around your neighborhood. And you can buy credits as well and give out candy. So download that. It's really fun and it's a safe way to celebrate Halloween this year.
And
Thank you all.
definitely play the games. There's an arcade, and I think I spent like an hour trying to figure out one puzzle. It's called like you have to try to get the Twix out of the dungeon, and I still can't figure it out. It's driving me crazy. I did the easy one, and then I did medium, and then there's like a hard level, and I am stuck on the hard level. But it is so fun. So definitely check it out.
That's awesome. Message us on Instagram or Facebook. Let us know how you guys do and everything. All right. Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.